All right, welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Missouri students, sponsored by the Missouri Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at moacac.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, moacac.org. I'd now like to turn it on over to our presenters.
All right, thank you so much. My name is Trent Fenwick. I am the regional representative for recruitment for Murray State University. So if you are interested in the university as a whole, you want to learn more, I did a presentation a couple days ago that's going to go through all things Murray State. So if you have admissions questions, what's it like to live on campus? What is there to do? Kind of all the nuts and bolts. That's great. We have a separate presentation. But for today, we're going to be talking about a really unique part of Murray State, something that's really specific and something very special to our campus, which is the Hutson School of Agriculture. So I'm joined today with representatives from the Hutson School of Agriculture to talk about all things ag on our campus. So I'm now going to turn it over to them to run through all of that great information. Christy, if you can hear me, I'm not sure you've unmuted yourself quite yet.
I'm sorry about that. I'm having a technical difficulty on my end with my computer. But my name is Christy Watkins. I'm with the Hutson School of Agriculture. I work as an instructor as well as the recruitment coordinator. I have a few young ladies here with me today. Hopefully they are agriculture ambassadors. They're going to give us a little bit of information about the program. So at this point, I'm going to switch it over. And I'm going to let Miss Alexis, if she's on here, she may not be on here yet, go ahead and start telling us about the programs. Okay, so it doesn't look like Miss Alexis has been able to get in yet. I think, again, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty on our end. But that's okay. We'll just go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and talk about the programs, and I'll go ahead and run through those for you. We have 3 academic departments within the Hutson School of Agriculture, and we offer a whole wide variety of different areas of study that a student can focus on. The first department is the Department of Agricultural Science. Within that department, we offer agri-science technology, and that has several emphasis that you can choose from. Everything from emerging technology, which would include drone technology, as well as communications, in case we have someone that wants to work as a PR rep, or possibly in journalism, radio, TV, or even with web design. We have agricultural education, and that will prepare a student to go on to teach not only high school, but possibly even middle school agricultural education. We have agribusiness. Our agribusiness students work in a lot of different fields in agriculture. We have several that work in agricultural lending, as well as we have several that work as sales representatives and in management at various companies. We have agriculture systems technology. Back in the old days, as I would call it, that used to be known as, it used to be known more as agriculture mechanization. And that term doesn't really fit anymore. Our agriculture systems technology is a mix of agriculture mechanization and agricultural engineering. This program, of course, is very hands-on. Our students work with both large and small equipment. They work with agriculture construction, agricultural processing. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with Ag Systems technology. We offer agronomy, which would be the study of field crops and soils. And then we also offer horticulture. And horticulture is going to be more ornamentals. It's also going to be greenhouse, working in an arboretum, working with turf management. We also have an apiary as part of that program, so our students can also work with bees. We have the Department of Animal and Equine Science. The Department of Animal and Equine Science is pretty much what it says. You can choose to either work with food animals, which are going to be things like cattle, pigs, chickens, goats, or you can choose to work with horses. Within the field of horses, you can choose to study equine science or equine management. So a student has the option as to which route they choose to take. We also have an equine specialty option, and that would be for someone that's considering to going on and getting a doctoral degree to become an equine chiropractor. And that's a pretty popular field and seems to be growing all the time. The last department that we have is pre-veterinary medicine and veterinary technology. The pre-veterinary medicine program is designed for students who would like to go on to become doctor of veterinary medicine. This program, because we only offer an undergraduate program, we send students all over the United States to actually go to vet school. So students have their choice once they get their undergrad here at Murray State in pre-veterinary medicine as to what vet school they do want to go to. It could be Missouri. Obviously, if you're a Missouri student, that would sound pretty good to you. It could be Purdue, it could be Mississippi, could be Tennessee, could be Auburn and Alabama. We even have students that go abroad to become doctors of veterinary medicine. We also offer veterinary technology, and it is one of few across the United States that is a 4-year program. So basically, if you decide to go veterinary technology, it would be the same thing as if you're going to be a veterinary nurse or a veterinary nurse practitioner. It does not prepare you to actually be a veterinarian, but it prepares you to work alongside a veterinarian. And as I said before, that is a 4-year degree. The next thing that I think that we're going to talk about now is our clubs and organizations. We do have a ton of different things that we offer our students here at Murray State, not only in agriculture, but also across campus. And we expect our students to get involved in all of the different areas. If you're in agriculture here at Murray State, you're considered to be a leader. So we have students that are president of the Student Government Association. We have had homecoming kings, homecoming queens. We have had students in all of the different athletics here that's offered at Murray State. We've also had students that have been Miss Murray State. So our students, like I said, they're involved in everything. But we do offer very specific areas or clubs and organizations that our students can be involved in if they're in agriculture. And I'm going to share our list here and talk a little bit about them. So we have the Agricultural Leadership Council, and that's very similar to what a student government would be. So if you've been involved in student government in high school, this might be something that you want to consider getting involved in whenever you're here in Hutson School of Agriculture. We also have a club or organization that goes along with every field of study. So whether you're studying agribusiness, or you're studying agronomy, or you're studying horticulture, you can get involved. And I'm sorry, I think I went too far. Let me go back, sorry about that. You can get involved in any of the different areas that we have to offer. Additionally, we do have competitive teams here. So we have students that are involved on the rodeo team as part of the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association. We have students that are involved in the equestrian team and in the dressage club. We also have soil and crop judging teams. So our students are competitive, and they actually go and they compete with other colleges and universities throughout the United States. We do have an honors society for students that excel while they're here at Murray State. It is called Alpha Zeta. It's nationally known. If you are a member of Alpha Zeta, we find that it's a very good thing for our students because Alpha Zeta is known across the United States. So sometimes that can help you get your foot in the door for that internship or possibly even that job whenever you're ready for a career. One of the other things that I do want to talk about, and it'll probably be of interest to most of the high school students out there, is we do offer a collegiate FFA. So if you've been involved in FFA in high school, you can continue that whenever you get here at Murray State. We also have a collegiate 4-H. So again, if you've been involved in 4-H while you're in high school, that is something that you can continue while you're here. So with the 4-H and the FFA, it is a little bit different. Whenever you're in high school, you're always the competitor. But whenever you get here to college, we do compete nationally at things like National FFA Convention against other colleges. But the bulk of the time, we actually work with area high school students and we put on the programs for them. So it's a great way for us to stay involved with FFA and to also help high school students. We do offer a collegiate farm bureau for those of you that are active in your farm bureau in your home county. That is something that you can continue whenever you get here. The other thing that we offer would be Greek organizations. Now there's an entire Greek system here at Murray State. So there's lots of opportunities, but we do have two that are specific to agriculture. We have Alpha Gamma Rho, which would be for the gentlemen, and we have Sigma Alpha, which would be for the ladies. I believe Miss Matea is on here, and I'm gonna let Miss Matea just say a little bit about some of the things that she's been involved in and maybe even talk about Sigma Alpha since she is a member of that.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Matea Wyatt. As I said, the slide said earlier, I'm an agriculture education major. It's my senior year. Like Christy said, there are a lot of programs in the Hutson School of Ag and outside the Hutson School of Ag. But as for the Hutson School of Ag side of things, I'm involved in agriculture ambassadors, collegiate 4-H, collegiate FFA, collegiate farm bureau, and Sigma Alpha. And Sigma Alpha is basically a professional agriculture sorority specific for ladies that have an interest in agriculture. You don't have to be an agriculture major to be in Sigma Alpha. You just have to show an interest. I'm actually the vice president this year. So we focus on ag in the community and helping this community. So in previous years, we've done different projects with elementary schools, and we basically create different things so they are more aware of agriculture in the Murray area. We also have pillars, and I could just go on and on talking about it, but I think that would probably be for later questions. But Christy, if you'd like to go ahead and pull up the farms, I'm going to talk about the different farms that we have here at Murray State, and we actually have 5 farms. Okay, pulling up for me. Okay, so the biggest one is the West Farm. I call it the biggest one because it's kind of where we do a lot of things. So it has the Cherry Expo Center, which is where we host rodeos and different events. We also have our back to school picnic here where everybody in the Hutson School of Ag comes together. We have a great meal. It's always super delicious, and we have a good time basically, and students get to see the different clubs and organizations in the Hutson School of Ag. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that this year due to COVID, but I'm sure we'll do something to make up for it because at the Hutson School of Ag, we love our food. So another thing is the rodeo barn. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, this is where you can practice and keep your horses. One really unique thing about Murray State is that you can actually board your horses here. So you can do an application so that your horse is right here on campus with you. And most of these farms are within 5 minutes of main campus, which is super awesome and really handy when you have a class on the farm and then you have to get back to a class on campus. Anyway, another thing that we have is the Carmen Animal Health Pavilion. So if you're pre-vet or vet tech, this is where you'll spend a majority of your time. because this is where all the hands-on classes are, and you get to actually like have animals on hand, and you can practice and do different things with that in different labs. We also have the MSU Equine Center, so we have basically a whole arena that is really cool before our equine unit, and then we have classrooms connected to that as well, so that the equine majors can learn right there and then go straight to the barn and not even have to leave the building. So it's really cool. The bio burner is in the equine center. It is where it's basically what heats the equine center during the winter. So it's really cool. We have cattle facilities. We have some cattle on the ground. We have acres. And this is where a lot of our agronomy and bioengineering test plots are. So you'll see like a ton of either dark fire tobacco, burley tobacco, soybeans, corn. You never know what you might see. You may even see random things that we're just trying to test. There's also the Ag Systems Tech Shop. So this is where we keep our large equipment. So if you're an ag mechanics or an Ag Systems Technology major, this is where you would go for those type of big projects. That's also where we host a lot of events that if you're doing that sort of mechanical situation, that's where you would go. And we also have tobacco barns because like I said, we have tobacco here. So we've got to have somewhere to put it. So we actually have a burley barn and a dark fire barn. So those are also on the West Farm. Like I said, big place. And then we also have area for your horses. And we also keep Racer One here, which is a really big deal. And because he's our mascot and we have a real jockey and everything. And he runs around the track every time the football team gets a touchdown. So this is where he's at. And then we have the North Farm. So basically this is our swan lab and show pigs. So we actually have a functioning swan farm basically. And we have everything from learning how to AI a sow to farrowing. So it goes all the way. You see the circle of life. Another thing on West Farm is actually the boar barn that goes with the swan. So that's where we go and collect boars and then we take it over to the North Farm and we artificially inseminate. So it's all a process. Everything connects around here. We also have cattle and horse pastures there as well. And then we have one of the close to home places. It's Pullen Farm. This was actually donated to us by Miss Pullen. And there's a whole story to go along with that. And I can let Christy tell you that story because it's one of my favorite stories. But we have agronomy test plots here. This is where our environmental center is. So we have like this nice area as well, like the arboretum that we call it. So people from all over the community of Murray come and just walk. And it's a great place to just hang out and get some fresh air. It's so fun. It's so beautiful too. Because the farm workers on the farm actually help keep up the place. Sorry, I was at a loss for words. And then we also have an apiary. This is kind of new. So this is where we keep the bees and we have a beekeeper and we sell honey from it as well. And then we also have greenhouses where we grow plants and have a annual greenhouse sale in about April or May. And then now we're having mum sales. So we do a lot of different things here. And this is actually where we have Fall on the Farm, which is an activity of a 2 to 4 days where the community and elementary schools come and we host different, like clubs host different things and they rotate and the kids can just have a good time and learn about agriculture because we're all about the community here and you'll learn that if you ever come to Murray State's campus. The Hutson Farm, this is where the agronomy and bioengineering plots are and this one's a little farther from campus and then the Eagle Rest Plantation is also a little farther off campus. So the main three ones are West Farm, North Farm, and Pullen Farm. And then at the Eagle Rest Plantation, it's one of the oldest cattle ranches in the U.S. So it's really cool for Murray State to have. And then there's also some agronomy plots as well. Did I miss anything, Christy?
I don't think that you did. I think you pretty well covered everything. I know that you mentioned Mrs. Pullen. So just to give you a little bit of background, and that's actually going to lead into the next thing that I want to talk to you about, which is scholarships. So she was talking about Miss Pullen and the Pullen Farm. which is really a unique situation for us. Miss Mabel was the wife of the first chairman, who was the Department of Agriculture back in the 1920s. So he passed away in the 30s, and she was also a school teacher. Whenever he passed away, she was left with a lot of debt, and she was left with a dairy farm. Miss Pullen was just the most awesome woman ever. She definitely, you know, whenever it comes to agriculture, it used to be back in those days, people would think about more of men, but she definitely made her path. So she lived on her farm until the mid-90s when she passed away. When she passed away, she left us a bequest of right around $1 million, which we use for student scholarships, as well as leaving us the farm, which is about 43 acres. And as Miss Matea said, we use that for horticulture and agronomy, and also for our apiary and arboretum. So it's a pretty cool story, and that leads me into scholarships. So scholarships at Murray State, or really at any college, is really important. We want to make sure that our students apply for scholarships, not only when they're coming in as a new student, but every year that they're here. So Murray State has made it really easy. If you are interested in coming to Murray State and you want to apply for scholarships, there's a couple of steps that you need to take. First of all, you need to apply for admission. Whenever you apply for admission and you get accepted, then you will gain access to the scholarship system. To make it easy on you, there is one application that you have to fill out, and it's online. So by filling out the one application, you can apply for all of the scholarships that Murray State has to offer. Murray State does have several general scholarships, and Mr. Trent would have to tell you a little bit more about that. But Hutson School of Agriculture has a ton of scholarships that we offer to our students every year. Additionally, there's a ton for freshmen, but there's scholarships that continue to open up to our students whenever they become sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Mr. Trent, can you tell them a little bit about how the scholarship process works as far as the grid scholarships that we have to offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Chrissy was kind of alluding to, we have different tiers of scholarship and kind of how students can earn them. So it really starts first with the grid that Chrissy just said. It's called academic achievement. I also call it the automatic scholarship. But when you're admitted to Murray State, first and foremost, right now with admissions, we are test optional. So students are able to apply and be admitted as long as they have a 3.0 GPA. After that 3.0, we will consider test scores. And then you truly have, I always say, until you enroll on campus. So basically August of the year after you graduate, to get your score where you want it to be. So if you apply to Murray State or you submit test scores to us with at least a 21 ACT or 1060 SAT and at least a 3.0 GPA, you're going to automatically be awarded a 4-year scholarship. So again, it's kind of different based on the scores you submit. But let's say you apply, you're admitted with a 21. That's awesome. You're going to get that first initial scholarship, but you can continue to take the ACT or SAT, and what I like to say is climb that grid. Again, it's percentage based, so every public school that you have talked to or probably know a little bit about has a grid that looks very similar to ours, but it's unique. Mostly, if you don't know this already, Missouri students are not considered out of state. So that percentage is really going to come off your tuition, and then even if tuition goes up a little bit one year, at a percentage rate model, you're never going to lose like the true dollar value. But as Christy was talking about, there's a lot of other institutional money. So that grid is kind of automatic. And then once you're admitted, you also get your credentials to log into your student portal, all that fun stuff. And that is, as she was saying, kind of a one-stop shop. So I always recommend students spend about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours on this. Because like Christy will tell you, you know, if you get one $500 scholarship, it was worth your time. Even if you spent 2 hours on it, there's $250 an hour worth of work that you put in. So definitely worth it there. Maybe what she was also alluding to is we do have money for students, not only based on major. So again, Hutson School of Ag is probably one of the well-funded colleges that are on the campus. There's also gonna be money for you based on where you're from. You're allowed to self-identify some financial need. There's gonna be some maybe specifically for where you go to high school, some various alumni scholarships. But our Murray State scholarship program is very robust. But the most important thing that Christy and I spend a lot of time talking to students about is you have to apply. That's really the number one thing, is all that money is out there, but you really have to kind of put it in within your grasp. But if you don't know, Murray State was also ranked the best bang for your buck for the 9th consecutive year. and ranked one of the #1 values in the entire South. So again, Murray State is affordable. It's at a very great price, but we have a lot of scholarship to help you take that cost even lower. So again, yeah, cost is one of the most important things when going to college, but I'll kick it back over to you, Christy.
So something else I want to talk about that's really cool here within Hutson School of Agriculture is we have our own study abroad program. So there is a study abroad program for the entire university, and they do a super awesome job. But we decided we wanted to do something special here within Hutson School of Agriculture. So we have our own study abroad program. Typically, the way that it will work, a group of faculty, staff, and students will travel together, and they'll actually spend somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 weeks in another country. While they are there, they get to experience the agriculture as well as get to see the culture and the history of, you know, wherever that they're going that particular semester. We typically take 2 study abroad trips a year. Because we do travel as a group, it seems to be a little bit more, I guess students seem to really like that a little bit better. They have a little bit more of security traveling in a group. Also, it tends to be a little bit cheaper because whenever we are taking a group of folks over there, that makes it a little bit easier for the students to pay for it. We've done some really awesome trips in the past. Unfortunately, with COVID, it's been a little bit dicey here lately, but that's going to pass, and we're going to be ready to jump back out there and travel again. We've been to places like Australia. We've been to places like Hungary. We've been to England, Scotland, Mexico, Panama. They've had down as future trips, possibly going to Argentina or Costa Rica. Additionally, we also have students in our Ag Ed program that go to Belize to student teach. They actually do a portion of their student teaching down in Belize, and then they come back and they finish up here in the United States. So there is that opportunity to travel abroad. And because it is specialized, you do get to experience the agriculture in that particular country while you're there. It's just a really awesome program, and it's something extra that we offer our students. If you've ever met our dean, or if you ever have the chance to meet our dean, Dr. Tony Brannon, he is noted for saying that you have to get an education, not just a degree. And what he means by that is you have to get involved in all of the extra stuff that we have going on here. The Hutson School of Agriculture works really hard to make sure our students get involved. You know, not only are you going to know your instructor in the classroom, because, you know, you're going to get to hear those lectures from them, and you're going to get to do those labs with them. You're also going to get to be around them outside of classes. All of our advisors are involved in our clubs and organizations. They're involved in our teams. They want to make sure that they know who the students are. And the big thing is that we're here to help you. Speaking of helping you, something that you'll be involved, or something that you'll really like, hopefully after you graduate, is getting a job. And that is something that we do within Hutson School of Agriculture as well. So we work with several companies, and not only in the United States, but internationally. We have alumni that are in major companies all across the United States, and we work with those folks to bring them back to campus. We want our students, even starting as a freshman, to have the opportunity to go to a career fair that's just geared toward agriculture students to see what's out there. So starting your freshman all the way through the time that you're getting ready to graduate, we will offer a career fair each semester strictly for our agriculture students. Whenever you're a freshman, you may just be looking to network, but that's the time to actually see some of the opportunities that you will have available to you. We also encourage our students, and it's actually a requirement of some of our programs, to complete internships. We feel that it is very important that you actually get out there and you get that hands-on and the real world experience, so whenever you do get ready to get a job, you'll be able to get your foot in the door. You'll actually say that you have been out there and you have worked in the real world, in addition to getting your education here at Murray State. I do want to try to switch it over to some of the students and ask them questions, because I know that's who you really want to hear from. So if my students, if you'll bring your video on, I think they're hiding right now, but I'm going to make them come out and visit everybody. There's Miss Matea. Let me see if I can get the other two to get theirs on, maybe. There's Miss Alexis. And I think that we also got Miss Jonna on here. There she is. So I want y'all to tell me, and y'all can decide what order you go in. I want y'all to tell me, why did you decide to come to Murray State, and why did you decide to study agriculture?
I don't care to go first. So like Miss Chrissy said, my name is Jonna. I'm a pre-vet major here at Murray State. Personally, I knew that Murray State was where I wanted to study pre-vet medicine, just because of the way that our laboratories are ran at Murray State. I think it speaks volumes that whenever I go to class, I get to have my hands on an animal. I get to actually learn with my patient, just like I would if I was in like in a clinic environment. And the fact that I want to go to veterinary school in the future is really what stuck with me, because early on in my academic career, I'm going to get to work with these animals and get to do all these things that I would usually only get in a clinic, but see, I get to do both now. I get experience in a clinic, and I get experience with the animals as I'm learning the material in class. And everybody says it, this is my last point, everybody says it, but Murray State does feel like home. And it's one of those places that as soon as you step on campus, you just know that this is where you're meant to be.
And Miss Jonna, where are you today? Because I can see patient files in the background.
Yes, I'm actually at work right now. I took a shift on the in the afternoon to take care of the animals that are going home today. So I'm currently at work right now.
Miss Matea, why did you decide to come to Murray State and study agriculture?
So I'm gonna first tackle the agriculture question first. In all of my life, I have been involved in 4-H, and I've grown up on a farm, and I was like, never want to do agriculture, not for me. And then I got into high school, and I did a project for 4-H where I had an agriculture awareness day for a local elementary school, and I got all the people together, I hosted it, and it was awesome just to see the faces of kids that had no idea about agriculture, and I had taken it for granted all those years because I thought it was just natural things to know. So I decided that I wanted to be an agriculture educator so that I could show people what agriculture is and make them more aware of how important of an industry it is, because if you didn't have agriculture, you wouldn't have food, which is very important. As we're coming to Murray State, I knew that their agriculture program was one of the best in the state specifically. And I was kind of deciding between here and UK. So I came to both. And as soon as I stepped on campus, I knew that, like Jonna said, it was home. It was the community that instantly connected to Murray State. And so I went to a semester at a community college, and I transferred into the Hutson School of Ag and jumped in. And the next semester I was agriculture ambassador. I was in all the clubs that I'm in now, and I was in Sigma Alpha, and I fell in love, and I love this campus so much. So that's how I got here.
Miss Alexis, are you still on with us? There you
I
are.
am sorry, I'm at work.
That's okay. Miss Alexis, why did you choose Murray State, and why did you decide to study agriculture? I think Miss Alexis froze on us. We may have to try to get back with her in just a few minutes. I do want to talk about something while hopefully we're going to get Alexis back here. I want to mention something called Fall on the Farm, and I'm actually going to get Miss Matea to talk about it and tell you a little bit about it, and then hopefully we can get Miss Alexis back on here since it looks like we're having video trouble. Miss Matea, can you tell us about Fall on the Farm?
Okay, so every fall, the Hutson School of Agriculture hosts Fall on the Farm. And so what happens is 3 days, so Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday usually is when we have this. So we set up one day, and a lot of the clubs and organizations that are like within the Hutson School of Ag and some classes will set up booths, and we'll have rotations of elementary school students, and I think it's preschool through 3rd grade of all the classes in around the community, and they'll come and they'll rotate on Thursday and Friday. And basically it's student led. All the students, you sign up for shifts if you're in a different club and organization, and you teach them about agriculture. One I know was we taught them about milking a cow. Another is we taught them about vegetables and how plants grow. And sometimes we just let them slide on the giant slide that we have on the pull-in farm. It's just really interactive fun that they get to experience and kind of learn about how important agriculture is at a young age. And we want to instill those beliefs into them young so that they know what's going on with agriculture. So we have that. And then on Saturday, we have it open to the public so people can come and check out everything. We have a corn pit, a shelled corn pit, which is so much fun. It's literally hay bales, and then inside is shelled corn. And it's like a ball pit with shelled corn. And it's so fun, and kids love it. And like little kids love it, and families come. You can buy pumpkins. You can learn more about the Hutson School of Agriculture. You can go through our corn maze. You can see the different agronomy plots that we have. You can see the different animals. I know one of the things that most people like is when they get to see the swine that we bring to the farm so that the kids can actually see or what a real life pig looks like. It's super fun, and it's really community focused because we love our community and we want to give back to it as much as possible. So that's Fall on the Farm. It's super fun, and we're really sad. And we did a virtual this year, so I will touch on that a little bit. I helped with this a little bit because we got grant money to do virtual Fall on the Farm since we couldn't do in person. So what we did is we put packets together for classrooms. I think we did over 200 packets, and we delivered them to local elementary schools like we would normally have them come to. And we gave them little seeds and some soil and a pot and instructions and different activities to go with it. And now they're growing their own kale in the classroom, which is super awesome. And I think they're going to go in or try to Zoom in or something and talk about kale with these students. So it's super awesome that we couldn't do it in person, but we found a way to be able to still impact those kids. And maybe they'll remember growing kale in their classroom when they grow up. So.
And what's really super cool about Fall on the Farm is, as Ms. Matea said, it's student-led. So all the clubs and organizations within Hutson School of Agriculture do their part. And part of a big part of the proceeds from Fall on the Farm, we give back to the clubs, and that allows them to go on trips to their national conventions. It allows them to bring in speakers. It allows them to have fun activities. So it's a way for them to raise money, but it's also a way for them to educate the community about agriculture. One thing you're going to find out about Hutson School of Agriculture is we always have activities going on, and we always have our students involved. We want our students to be involved. We think it's super important. You know, as I mentioned before, yes, we expect you to be in the classroom, but we want to see you outside of the classroom. And, you know, that's just one of our things within Hutson School of Agriculture is we're very student friendly. We're a lot like a big family. I think Miss Alexis is back on here, and I'd like for her to tell why she chose agriculture in Murray State. Hopefully this time it's going to work, right, Miss Alexis? So we're going to give it a try.
I hope so. Can everybody hear me? Good? Kind of? Okay, we're going to try again. So I chose Murray, first of all, because I actually lived around the area of Western Kentucky and always felt like, I don't know, like it was home, as like Jonna and Matea both said. It's just the community there and how they want to get involved with everything and just the people in general. I've always felt kind of called to go back there, even though I live in central Kentucky now. And then as far as Murray State, I actually went and started there as a pre-vet student because I love the pre-vet program. It's one of the best in the state, if not the country. And I just fell in love with it, the hands-on. And then I ended up getting more involved with like the equestrian teams and the rodeo team, and kind of started leaning more towards like the equine programs. That's kind of why I ended up switching to animal science, just hands-on and just the ability to even like compete. So like I'm on the rodeo team, like I said, and I get to go out and compete with them and go to different rodeos and just be able to be in that community, be with others, and just be around all of these racers that just mean so much to me, and just call Murray, Kentucky home.
Miss Alexis, before you leave us, can you give us a little bit more information about your involvement with the rodeo team?
For sure. So with the rodeo team, I actually started out in the rodeo club, which basically we meet at the same time as a rodeo team, but you don't have to buy your NIRA card, so you don't like get to compete or anything. And that's because I didn't have my horse on campus with me. And that's the big difference between rodeo and the equestrian teams, is that the equestrian teams and like dressage and all that, they can use the student, they use the horses that the university owns, and they take them with them to contests and different things like that. But as far as the rodeo team goes, we have our own like arena and our own pens and our own livestock, and you bring your own horse to use if you're gonna be in one of the either like team roping or like the timed events or anything like that. Other than like the rough stocks, obviously you don't need a horse for that. So that's just like the big difference. And I definitely loved like being in the club first, seeing like the behind the scenes. I got to work like in the back with the rough stock and like the strip and shoots. So that was like a lot of fun. And then I actually brought my horse down this semester. So we're on the actual team, and she's currently getting broke, so I can start roping off of her. So we're super excited.
As you'll see, all of our students that are on here today, and even most of our students here, they are super active in different programs. I know that we're almost out of time. I do want to share where you can get more information. So if you'd like to email us, you can email us directly at msu.ag@murraystate.edu, or you can call the phone number, which will come directly into the dean's office, and you'll be able to talk to me in person. And then also check out our website. We have a really awesome website. You can actually go on there and you can pull up our curriculums for all the different areas that we mentioned as far as the field of studies, and you can see the classes you would take if you decided to study that particular program. So it'll show you everything from your general education classes all the way to your specific classes in your field of study. So please check that out. And like I said, feel free to contact us if you have any questions. Mr. Trent, do you have anything to share before the video ends?
No, yeah, you guys did a fantastic job. I just want to definitely echo Christy with backing up their website. And honestly, just anyone that is associated with agriculture on our campus, they're always there to answer questions if you're looking for somebody to kind of authentically let you know what you're looking for. And I think that's something that's really special about the university, and what the students really echoed the most. And again, I went to Murray State, have 2 degrees from there. It's very much home. It's very authentic. It's a very different type of college experience because we are a university, but we're mostly a community. And that's what we talk about the most. You feel that in the classrooms. But yeah, you know, check out our website. Especially if it's, again, all things agriculture. If you need anything from the Missouri side, if you're a Missouri student, I'm also a Missouri resident. So if you have university overarching questions, this is one final plug to go check out the presentation I did a couple days ago. That is just all things Murray State. But again, we appreciate you all for joining us. And I'm going to now toss it back over to StriveScan to end our session. Thank you all so much.
All right, so thanks for joining us. That was very informative, and it's always good to get some students' perspective as well. So when you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions at moacac.org. In about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as all of the other session recordings at moacac.org. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.